right, Milan fans, here we are for another podcast brought to you by Shane and Husni here. So Shane from Kenya and me based out of Saudi Arabia. So thanks everyone for tuning in and giving us a good listen. And we appreciate those likes and subscribes and follows if you can on all our social media. So have we got a show for you here today in terms of what's happened the past week? Two games to recap as well as one of big news. So Shane, you want to start it off?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's been a roller coaster of a week, isn't it? We came back from those awful friendlies that we won't talk about. Let's pretend it never happened. And next thing, yeah, Salernitana did well, and Roma. Obviously, we're going to cover this in depth. But yeah, it's been a roller coaster. It's been a hell of a week. How's it been for you?
It's been all right. It's been rough. Even the game that we won, which we'll speak a little bit about later, it wasn't this bang to the year, if you could say that. They weren't the fireworks in what I expected. If we look at the whole 90 minutes. But season goes on. We have to play our best. We have to win games. That's what we need to do if we want to try and win the Scudetto. Other than that, top four, what can we say? All right. So let's talk about the
Yeah, I think it
first.
was a bit. There was a bang, all right, but the bang was us coming down to earth. I think that was the bang that we got. Anyway,
That's what they say.
oh
Like
man,
the higher you are, the harder you fall. Is that how the saying goes? So yeah, been falling from
that's
second
it.
place
That's it.
now to third. Let's
That's it.
see how
Mm.
the rest of the season pans out. But yeah, let's kick things off with a big piece of news regarding Ismail Benacer. So this news has been awaited by many fans. It's not been made official yet, but it seems that it's quite there, based on the several sources, especially if you see the track record of some of the reporters like Fabrizio Romano. So you could say it's almost a done deal. What are your feelings about the renewal, Shane? Should we be excited or more than excited?
Oh yeah, I mean this guy is critical to the team. I mean, very rarely do you hear people talk about him, and the whole reason being is because he does his job so well that he doesn't need to get talked about because he's good, he's quiet, he does his job really well. Small item of concern though. I think the release clause is set to what is it, 50 million still, but it's
Yeah.
only active after 2 years. Did you hear that?
Yes, I did.
So
And
it's
there was an
not like
article, I think,
active now. Yeah.
yeah, there's an article in Separate Milan. I think it's a little bit more complicated than that. It's like 50 million from next year, 2024. And there's something about it. It needs to be paid in one payment for the first 15 days, only for foreign clubs. So there's additional sub conditions behind it, which I think makes the 50 doesn't look that bad. I mean, even if it was 50, would you say it's a okay amount of money if a club were to come and pay
I
it?
I think he's undervalued.
By
I think he's
much, I agree
undervalued,
with you, but
man.
by
Yeah.
much,
Mm.
because you can expect that not everyone is knowing that coming from CRR. It's different if you're like a Premier League team and another team from Premier League wants to come and buy one of your players. I mean, you could probably ask any number you want, but
I
this
mean,
is a player in
Kessie
Premier
set
League.
such a high bar, right?
Yeah,
Jeez. Yeah. But yeah, it's just it's really good, really positive to have him here though. Um, him and Tonali work really well together. I think that's the key piece here, and we're kind of preserving the core and the structure of the team. I really hope that this translates to Leao kind of signing this contract, and now hopefully Giroud as well, just to keep everything tight, keep it together. Bargain for 15 million. I mean, that's what he cost from Empoli, wasn't it?
um, I think you paid around 20, if I'm not mistaken, and it was the same window that we also got Krunic, also from Empoli. So I don't know if it was a
That's
20
it.
and a 2 for 1 deal
Another
or
world class player.
yeah.
Two world class players. There we go. There
But
we go.
let's talk a little bit about the future.
I
And if with such a deal is, you could say that it might be cast in stone that there is maybe that slightly higher chance that Benacer at some point, not too far away in the future, that he might leave because 50, as you said, is not that high. So Do you think that there are players within the squad that maybe can grow to take his place, or should we look for someone else in the summer?
I know what you're angling at, and I don't like it because you're going to start talking about Pobega, and I'm going to say I really don't think he's the characteristics. Um, and probably what'll happen is Pobega will become a superstar, and I'll be found out to be the idiot that I am again.
We're gonna quit this.
But yeah, it's not like this is going on the internet, right? So, no,
Not
man,
all of
I
it, but
do. I
yeah.
like him. I suppose. Yeah, no, I like Pabega. I think he's rough around the edges. He's still. I mean, again, we'll cover this later, but the Roma game was maybe a bit of an example where he still has a lot that he needs to work on. So, getting stupid tackles out of his game hopefully should be part of what Pabega needs to do. In terms of who else do we have coming through, I mean, I don't know. Like who are you most excited to see coming through in the centre midfield position outside of Bakayoko?
There's actually two names, and I think one of them, based on what I've seen, and it hasn't been a lot. I mean, for both players, we haven't seen a lot of them, but I'm looking at their characteristics. It might shock you guys if you're listening to this, but I think Adley can do Benacer's job. On, and I'll tell you the reasons why. So Benacer, okay, he doesn't have the height for it, yeah. So don't expect him to be in the box trying to score those headers, diving in over whichever 6 foot plus player is standing in front of him. But you look at the tenacity, you look at his, his manner on the pitch, how he recovers those balls. He's very aggressive, if I can say that. Yesterday he had a yellow card, but there's some of that Gattuso, and Gattuso wasn't a very big player as well. So when I see what Adley has done, and by the way, Adley in his team, in, I think it was Bordeaux, I think he had that. He was playing midfield, but he was in the middle of the park and he was doing quite a bit of recovery, and we've seen a little bit of that, especially in the preseason. So, given time, I think Adley can be groomed into Benacer's role and exactly what he does. I mean, it's just a coincidence that they're both from representing Algeria in the internationals. But what I don't really like is that we've put this sort of fixed mold around Adley, even though he's a young player, saying that you can only be a cam. And I know he did, like in the preseason. I think he did left wing, but you can only be a cam mostly. I don't think that is right. So, and the other player that I just want to mention, but we've seen it a lot, is Vranks. But Vranks is giving me a lot of the Cassie vibes because he's a big kid. He has a physicality. But Tonali and another physical player, it reminds you just of last season, yeah. Tonali and Cassie. So why not? We have the players. It's just a matter of how they develop into the standard. What are your thoughts on that? I mean,
Yeah,
do
it's
you?
like you said. I mean, we like we definitely have the scouting network now. Um, don't mention right wing, but we definitely have the scouting network now, right? So I mean, look, I'm hoping, like you said, I mean, Franks does look like there is a bit of a Kessie esque kind of aura about him. So I mean, things are looking very good for the future. Um, I mean, it's kind of one of these things about being a Milan fan, especially in the last couple of years. I think we've had to learn patience, and I think maybe winning the Serie A like we didn't do us any favors for that, because I think it kind of maybe put a maybe like an arguably unrealistic expectation on where we are, right? Um, but I mean, yeah, there's nothing to that. I guess let's say maybe 2 or 3 years. I mean, let's say Pobega and Vranks come good. You have Tonali, you have Benacer, Pobega, and Vranks, and if they all came, and if they all reach their limits of what they're capable of, I mean, it's exciting times ahead. Patience, though,
Give
patience.
them
So
time.
yeah, mm,
All
unless they're
right.
Adley,
Of
which
course,
he
then
can't get any. But anyway, yeah. It's a shame.
All right, so let's move on to the next game, or the first game of the season. It was actually against Salernitana, a game that we were looking forward to, considering all the mess that happened in preseason. So deservedly a win. What were your thoughts about how we won? Do you think that it was a overwhelming performance by us, or just a little bit better than what we've seen coming out of before the break?
I was kind of after watching that game. I was thinking, oh man, we really should have got Ochoa as a backup. You
Yeah,
know, because literally, I mean, the guy is on fire, dude. Right, and even I think Salernitana were playing. Was it Torino this round? This round just gone, and he basically he played a blinder in that game as well. Like so, but anyway, Ochoa aside, yeah, we were all over Salernitana. I mean, it was, right from the off, I think we did really well. The final score, again, the Milan curse, we shut down, especially towards the end of the game. But the score line wasn't really reflective of just how good we were, really. I mean, it could have been 4-5-1.
with a
Leao
couple of
came
PDK
through,
goals,
did what he
make it
usually
even
does.
more special.
Big time. What I'm glad to see after that chat that you had with him at the meet and greet, Hosni, it's done really well. It's done really well for his confidence. No, but you can see CDK. Well, in this game anyway, you can see that he was, he was kind of doing all the right things. Like he was taking good pot shots. He was in the right places. So that's the CDK that we need to see because the goal is definitely going to come, and when it comes, it's going to be again amazing. So, but yeah, Salernitana and Milan, fair results. We were unfortunate it wasn't by a heavier margin, but yeah, again, we kind of shut off towards the end of that game, which, as you'll see when we talk about the Roma game, that's becoming a pattern. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts on the Salernitana game?
I fully agree with you. So it's a dominating, I thought, first half performance. I didn't watch most of the first half because I was in the middle of something, but I caught quite a bit in terms of the replay. So as good as it could be against a team like Sanitana from defending champions, no doubt about it. I had thought that if CDK started, maybe he could have gotten the goal because we seemed a little bit more fired up in the beginning. As you said, we seemed to tone it down quite a lot in the second half. And yeah, second half when that what happens when you tone it down too much, you end up conceding. If you look at the statistics for the game, we had so many. I think we had double digit for shots and also shots on target. And Salernitana had only one, but they needed only one to score. So despite us picking up 3 points, it is proving quite a big of a weakness, and a weakness that I think we'll be talking about with regards to the Roma game, that we cannot keep a clean sheet, and it makes a big difference, guys, because the attackers they do their job, yeah, they're doing all the running, they're doing the plays, the 1-2s, the crosses, the chips, whatever you call that, and it's leading to goals. So that is not a problem. But now we're at a point whereby if I was an attacker, I don't, I would be exceedingly frustrated because I'm doing all this work and, it's leading to a play that ends up in the back of the opponent's net. But at the same time, is that do I have to work double or triple hard because I know that at the back is like some sort of an open door policy that anyone can come and score, especially Salernitana. And Salernitana, they're not an amazing side. You could say that fine, and maybe they're at best mid table, but why can't we keep a clean sheet? And it's a problem because we have most of okay, we still have a lot of injuries, but our first choice players, a lot of them are back, and we have Calabria, we have uh, Tomori, we have Kalulu, Theo is there. What's missing? Okay, we could say it's Manyan is not there, but is Manyan not being there the sole reason why we concede this goal? I don't think so. So it's difficult to see this as conceding like this. It's just so bad, for a team like AC Milan. We've had legends as defenders, and you were conceding such goals. Frankly, it's so lopsided now. It's borderline
I mean,
embarrassing.
compared even to last season, Not even having to go back as far as the legends, but compared to last season, I mean, Kalulu and Tamori were just on it. And I know you could throw in the argument, oh well, they had Yan, but guys, like, I mean, we have to be completely honest here, right? As good as Tata isn't, Tata Rashanu, as good as he isn't, you know, like, you could have a superhuman in goal, and the problem is just, they're not going to stop these. They're not going to stop these goals. This is a team problem.
Yep, you're right.
Like, and again, I'll go back to what I said about the friendlies. It's just a lack of professionalism. We don't have leadership on this pitch. We don't. Calabria
How
might be
far
wearing the armband, but
how far you want to take this? Because we talk about professionalism and the attitudes of players. Could it be? And I'm really reaching here. Players who've won this Scudetto all of a sudden think that, pardon my language, that they got a big dick all of a sudden, and they're taking everything so lightly, especially when we've scored. I don't
but
want to say that's
that's
the
yeah.
reason, but could it be that?
No. So yeah, so that's human nature, right? So human nature is it's a thing where it's like, look, you get complacent, right?
Yeah.
Um, However, a good leader will step in and make sure that that doesn't happen.
Or the coach.
See, or the coach. Well, yeah, the coach. You're correct. You're correct. And Pioli isn't covering himself in glory, especially after the Roma game. But there has to be more leadership on this pitch, or there has to be more leadership in the locker room. I mean, instead of Zlatan being, where is he? Where did I see he was? I don't know. He
He was in
was
Miami
on
or something on the beach.
Miami or something like that. Instead of
Yeah.
running around the fucking beach in Miami, come back and just start, like breaking some skulls in the locker room because you're badly needed. You know, if Calabria can't step up with the captain's armband, I mean, there's gonna be need to be some sort of bloody leadership going on there because it's just not happening on the pitch.
Yeah.
I mean, who do you ask to come back? I mean, Kier,
Is Kier injured or he's on the bench? I've
he was
lost track
injured.
of the
He's
players that
injured.
are fit.
Yeah, he's
Oh, he's
injured.
injured again.
He's one of, yeah, I believe so. One of nine.
All right. Well, we've got a full starting, well, not 11, but 9 players that could probably make a team in Hospital FC. In all positions, I think. Yeah, right, right.
Yeah,
We have
except
information all positions.
Origi, who still wouldn't make it because he's still somehow unfit. He's too unfit for Hospital FC. Oh, Origi,
Oh,
what are you doing?
so yeah, because it was just a recent memory of yesterday. Let's talk about the Roma game and how a 2-0 lead turns into a 2-2 draw at, you could say, the very last minute in injury time that they equalized. What were your feelings then? How did you see this game? Was it within your expectations? Because I'll be honest, I didn't make fun of Inter when they drew against Monza for this reason. So tell us, Shane, what was
So,
going through your
so,
mind?
so you'll know. But as the two goals went in, my feelings were nothing because I was asleep. Because what had happened was I waited till the 80th minute and said, "Oh my God, there is no way a Mourinho team can score 2 goals." Uh, and not in the way that Roma played. And I basically said, "I'm going to bed." So I went to bed. And next thing, I woke up this morning. I checked my phone, and I said it was 2-2. So my feelings at the time of the game were, I was great, man. I wasn't feeling anything. But yeah, my feelings after this game, after finding out the results and after watching the game, dude, like, I mean, Kalulu, right? Kalulu, as you know, I had sent a message on a fellow podcast group that myself and Hosni are in. I sent a message that basically said, haha, Vasquez got completely owned by Kalulu for Kalulu's goal. Kalulu just
Ibanez,
literally
you mean?
ran past him, right?
Ibanez, you
And
mean
next
Ibanez?
thing, or Ibanez, sorry,
Yeah,
Ibanez, right? And so he ran past Ibanez, right? Ibanez wasn't there, and of course, like the way that life is, I was humbled at the right at the near the end of the game because Ibanez comes up in the 87th minute, right? I don't know what Kalulu's doing, but he's not marking anyone. uh you know Goes up and scores, and then Tammy Abraham, who can't score goals, scores a
yeah.
goal in the 93rd minute and makes it 2-all. I mean, guys, what the hell are we doing? It's like, you know, if this was Inter, I'd expect it, right? Because Inter, it's kind of like, they are a bit bipolar. They're the best team in the world one day, and then, 3 days later, they're atrocious. But this just makes it. Can we please get leadership on this pitch? Someone? Can Gattuso come back from retirement? Can someone step in and help us? Because this is just it's embarrassing, man. What do you think?
Well, yeah, the best defenders of all time is actually was in the stands watching like performance, and his other partner, Franco Baresi, another you could argue another joint best defender of all time, is still in the club. So the lessons are not rubbing off onto the players. But yeah, you're right, and I completely agree with everything that you said. But we really have to track back the plays a little bit, you know, a little bit before that. How did it get into that situation? Yeah. So in the case of the corner, could you argue that we should be a little bit more? I know that there are players and there are teams that say, okay, once you get into the corner, our set piece defending will take care of the rest. But we're not that team, yeah. So looking ahead, we have to be the team that doesn't want it to be a corner, yeah. Keeps kicking the ball, blasting it as far away as we can. We need to be that team from now on because these weaknesses, every team is watching, and they're just going to keep replicating the same thing. For the second goal, ranks, yeah, he's a kid, by the way. Yeah, I know a lot of people were holding him responsible for that barge into Dybala that led into the free kick, and trust Dybala to get a ball into the box, and with a little pinball move, and it bounces to Tammy Abraham, who kicks it right up into the roof of the net.
Yeah,
It's bound to happen.
slaps. Yeah,
So you could also partly blame Tatarushanu. He blocked the first shot, fine then, but he didn't push it out. Yeah, he pushed it into back into the direction of Tammy Abraham. I know it's a lot to ask from a keeper like Tatarushanu, who let's admit he's not world class enough to say that. Oh, he'll probably know where to deflect the ball to, but a better keeper might have done that. Yeah, it's we've seen good keepers and they would be able to do that. But again, not being able to keep the set piece, it's it's so worrying because where are we now? From battling and trying to claw back the difference between us and Napoli, we're behind Juve. And Juve, they've had a bad season. They had a bad season last season. And everyone's saying they had a bad season again. But where are they now? They're second. And they've had 7 wins and seven clean sheets in a row. If they beat Napoli, it'll be eight. Why don't we have those statistics? We should have the players for it. We shouldn't have to depend on others to fall for us to advance and try to win the Scudetto. That shouldn't be our way. But so poor, so poor and frustrating. Especially, you went to sleep, but for the rest of us who watched the game and those minutes tick by, we had to live with the anger and trying to sleep with it. So yeah, that's how I felt about the game. And what can I say? We move on to the next game, and I don't know if we're proving a bit of a Lecce, but
just a
I'm
quick one.
hoping. Yeah,
70% possession in the first half.
yeah, dominating, no doubt.
If if we can get our heads screwed on, we're winning this game. Like the two goals wouldn't have mattered because it would have been 5-2. You
Yeah,
know, it's, seriously,
but
guys.
yeah, but let's be a bit objective here. Yeah? So we were two nil up. Yeah, 2-0 up late into the game. Pioli made substitutions, and I can somewhat understand why because there were so many yellow cards being handed out, and we can't risk a red card, even though it's Lecce, by the way. But okay, we got to treat that game seriously, no doubt, no matter who we're playing next. But it backfired. Yeah, we brought on ranks. We brought on Pobega. Sorry, Pobega before that, before the goal. It did not work. Yeah. So I don't know what options we have if we were to go 2-0 up again, because we need those points, guys. 3 points. We dropped two. And we, like you mentioned, Shane, we dominated the entire game. What more could you ask from the attackers for most of the game? But this is the story of Milan. If we do win the Scudetto, the off chance that we do win it, we look back to these games to really prove that we had to claw all the way there. So yeah, what's yeah, coming up the last part of the segment, and maybe let's talk a little bit about what your expectations for next week, which is, I believe we have the Lecce game, and I think Torino and the
Mm-hmm.
Super Coppa. Do we have? Yeah, we have quite a number of games to look ahead.
Yeah, so just before we just go into that, just real quick, I just want to give a quick shout out as well, because obviously Italian football lost a great person,
Yeah,
only a few days ago in Gianluca Vialli. He was definitely a big part of my childhood. Sampdoria, Juventus. Um, by all accounts, a very good person as well. I think shout out to him. He's left a great legacy behind him. Not making light of that in any shape or form, but I think it was kind of fitting that Milan had a minute's silence, because potentially this could be the death of our second star this season as well. So anyway, yeah, not great, guys. Obviously, we'll have to put this to bed. Put the Roma result behind us. As you said, Hosni, Wednesday the 11th at 8 o'clock UK time. Um, that's the Coppa Italia, the round of 16 against Torino.
yep.
14th. I believe that's an early kickoff, so that's 5 p.m. UK time on the 14th of January. Saturday the
Not too bad
14th.
for us.
That's
8 p.m.
it's 8 p.m. Is it? Right, right. Yeah, yeah. It's 8 p.m. for us exactly. So, um, 5 p.m. UK time. So the Super Copa, which is the one you're going to see, right? So that's the Wednesday, the 18th of January.
Yep.
So that's going to be a good
So
one.
yeah, three games, and you could say look at the gap between the games. Yeah. So
Mm.
11th, today is the 9th, based on the time of recording. So that's day after tomorrow. We were playing the Coppa Italia. Then about 3 days later, L- Lecce, and 4 days later we were playing the Super Coppa, with the
What?
next game after that Lazio the week after. So quite
What?
three games quick succession.
So do you want? So what's your opinion on the Coppa Italia? Would you prefer Pioli to go off and play young players, or would you kind of say no? Look, I mean, we have to treat this seriously. It could be the only silverware we get this season, or would you prefer him to try young players?
Yes to both, if I can have it, if I can have that. So I really want the Coppa Italia. We've not won it in a long while, I think. Yeah, we've won the Scudetto recently, and I know the Coppa Italia
That's
isn't on the same level, but let's
it's a
win it.
good
I mean,
question. When was Milan's last Coppa Italia? I know
I think it's
Seedorf
2010.
there for the last one.
Yeah, it's it's been more than 10 years. So I want to win it,
Mm.
and at the same time, I want the kids to do well. But I think the kids can do well. So having a mix of maybe two or three experienced players, uh, can I say, I don't know, with Tonali, maybe a player like Tonali or Benacer, one of them, then have ranks. Then I want full rotation up front. CDK is not a kid, but yeah, this should be the game for him. He can play cam or as a striker, either one. Messias will be back for that game. On the left wing, oh damn, I forgot that Rebic is out for a while. Maybe Rebic is back, but I mean, as much as we can, let's do a rotation, because I think these guys not only need a rest, but they need
So
still, even though we came
y-
off a break, they need somewhat of a reset for the rest of the games.
you know, how many the last time Milan won the Coppa Italia?
When
2003.
Is it sure that we really need to win it? And by the way, even though we last won in 2003, we've actually gone far quite a number of times, right? We've been to the
Into
semi-finals.
the final a couple of times.
And I know it's not a big competition because if Inter wins it, then it's probably not that difficult. So, but we should try to win it. How about you, Shane? I mean, do you think we should dedicate good part of resources to try and win it? After all, it is silver.
So it is. The problem is, so is the Europa Conference League. That's silverware too. So is the Europa League. That's silverware. Is it important though? No. So my concern is yeah, it's like, look, great. I think you should field a load of kids and see how they do. Maybe a couple of guys that aren't necessarily in the first team, like Dest. Um, yeah, Franks, Chiao. I mean, I'd love to see them.
Xiao, he
Adley,
can't
I'd
play
love to see them play. Oh,
because
he
he was
can't. Oh, he
he's
can't.
serving suspension for the German Cup
Oh,
game.
dang.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Because you see, ideally, because my concern is that let's say we go and we win the Coppa Italia this year, right? So we win the Coppa. So
Hooray.
and let's say we finish fourth, and let's say we get knocked out of the Champions League by Spurs. Let's just say worst case scenario, right? That's what I think could happen. And I'm putting a Coppa Italia win in the worst case scenario as well, because what that does is that gives Cardinale him of little funds, right? That gives him the excuse to say, well, look, we still kind of, we may not have done so well in the league, but we got further in the Champions League, and we also still have silverware. But yeah, but not all silverware is equal. And the whole reason that we didn't win the league is because we didn't invest at all, you know. So, well, not at all, but we didn't invest, in key areas that any Milan fan will tell you that we needed to invest in certain key areas, and they weren't really invested to the quality of players that we needed to kind of push in the league. So if it's winning the Coppa Italia at the expense of potentially winning the league, and then getting a small bit further in the Champions League, and then getting this little gift or this little olive branch held out to us by Cardinale, saying, "Oh well, we've still got further in the Champions League," and you're kind of like, "Yeah, understood," but our league form was shocking, and now we have this ridiculous trophy that I mean, this is a Juventus trophy. This could potentially become a Roma trophy. They care if they
Yeah.
win it, no one else does. So I mean, Christ, guys, to me the Copa, again, it's like Milan playing in the Europa League. It's an annoyance. I would prefer Milan never win the Europa League, because then people would know we were in it if we actually won the damn trophy. I prefer to either be in the Champions League or just not completely out of Europe, especially that Conference League. That's just, I mean, that's a complete waste of time. Whatever about the Europa League, I mean, the Conference League, jeez. Like, I mean, it's kind of like, okay, so you're not good enough to play in the Europa League, but you still want extra money from Europe. Here's another made up trophy so you can pretend you're a little less useless. It's and I probably rate the Europa League. I probably rate the Europa Conference League just above the Coppa Italia.
All right.
It's a nothing trophy, dude. But anyway, yeah, just my thoughts on it. Could be
Yeah,
completely
well, what you said is,
bull.
is correct, but this is a problem of champions because when you have an eye on a big prize, then of course you can start to choose, and you're definitely right. If it's like a mid-table team or a smaller team, this is probably as good as it's going to get because I think for the Coppa Italia it guarantees them a route into Europe. So let's say, for example, a team like let me throw any team like Sassuolo were to win the Coppa Italia, they would actually go to Europe. I don't think they've played in Europe before, so it'll be a big achievement. But for us, yeah, we're going after the big prizes. So it wouldn't be a big issue if we didn't win it. But then again, it's nice, yeah, having that, another trophy, another celebration. I don't know what sort of merchandise they're going to release for that, but seeing as how this club now likes to make a lot of money in many different ways. But
That's
yeah,
it. Well, the problem is you can make all the merchandise you want, but who's going to buy it? It's like, Coppa Italia. Okay, we finished fourth in the league. Um, but or we got dumped out of the Champions League relatively early in the final rounds. But like, yeah, man, this is like, how do you even sell it?
come on, don't write it off. It may be a good design, and we've reviewed some of the merch before, saying, oh, that doesn't look too bad. Maybe it's worth a buy.
True, and you know what? Now that you say it, it might be our only route into the Super Copa next year.
Yes,
You
yes, yes,
know,
yes.
like it might. So like, depending on what happens, we might be playing. And if we did win it, you'd be playing then the winner of the Serie A and the Super Copa. So
There you have a
yeah,
point. But on the face of it, where we are now, because it's Torino, and keep in mind that we lost against Torino. Yeah, this is our second loss of the season, so we have that vendetta thing that we need to claim more. We need to
that's it.
scout them at least for that. Then
That's it.
we'll see how far we can take it. Because after round 16, yeah, then it's the quarters, then semis. So there's still
Mm.
quite a long way to go.
Oh,
Oh, and we have
we have a
Fabio.
chat.
Thanks. Big shout out to
Fabio,
Fabio. Thanks for joining us.
my hero. Thanks for joining us, Fab. I love you, man. But yeah,
Yep. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the show for this week, guys.
mm,
I will be we'll be probably reviewing the other games next week. Then I don't know, maybe I'll try to do something before the Copa and have some videos for the Copa. It seems that the Dubai videos got quite a bit of views, so
yeah,
it'll be
that'd
fun to
be.
try to mine those subscribers
Please,
with content.
please, please, please have another motivational chat with CDK,
I'll try to, but I don't think they're
because it
doing
seems to
a
have
meet
worked.
and greet.
It's that it's not stalking if you run into him by accident. You know. It's,
Indeed.
anyway, man. Yeah. Thanks for joining, everyone. Good
Yeah.
recap. God help
Thanks.
us all as Milan fans. So
Yeah. Thanks for listening. Thanks to Fabio and
thanks, Fab.
for tuning in. And for those who want to catch what we've, or if you've missed the earlier part of today, you can follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Instagram, Twitter. I think Discord. I'll be checking out, make sure that works. But yeah, we're on several platforms. We're at Milanistas 360. Find us anywhere. Reach out. If you guys want us to cover a topic, then we'll be more than happy to do so. And yeah, anything else, Shane, that you'd like to add? We'll wrap this up.
Yeah. Shout out to Fabio. So it does a lot of work over at the Milan Weekly Pod. Milan Coast to Coast. Definitely check out that channel. Check out Fabio, Gio, both great guys, very passionate, very solid. Don't listen to it when there's kids in the room, especially after a result like the Roma result. But yeah, it's hope everyone stays well, and yeah, let's not get this second star.
Yep, second star loading, hopefully.
I'd say loading, maybe next year if we're lucky.
All right. Thanks everyone again for tuning in. Yeah, Forza Milan.
Forza Milan.
Italia!